Good afternoon, everyone out there in YouTube land. My name is Jared. This is my channel, Mazda B3K. So this one, we're going to work on replacing the steering wheel. This is the original wheel in my 95 Mazda Miata MX-5. And as you can see, it's pretty shot. I actually acquired a new wheel, so we're going to replace the wheel. And hopefully when we replace the wheel, we can figure out why. Oh, it's working now. But this horn button's intermittent, and I'd like to figure out why. So without further ado, let's get started. First things first, we need to disconnect the battery. So that means trunk up. The battery's located here. We need to get at least one of these two terminals off. And it looks like our positive is going to be the one that we have access to first. So we need to get this guy off. I want to say that's like a 10 millimeter, maybe a 12. Get this popped off, and then we walk away. Looks like we have a 13 millimeter. So get this loose. One thing that I've never been a big fan of with this Miata is that how the battery terminals are set up. You might be wondering, well, why are we disconnecting a battery to work on a steering wheel? And the answer is that the airbag. We want to make sure that the airbag is completely de-energized before we do anything to touch the steering wheel, because we have to remove it in order to actually get to the bolt that should be holding, or excuse me, the nut that should be holding the steering wheel in place. And we do not want to accidentally have it go off in our faces. So after we disconnect the battery, we're going to walk away for about 10 minutes and just leave it alone and let the airbag de-energize. Okay, so we've waited 5-10 minutes. So the next step is to actually remove the airbag module. And to do that, there are going to be 4 10 millimeter nuts that are on the back here. And you just take them out. Alright, that's probably pretty close. Yeah. Get it out with my finger. So you just get these all the way off. And so here's your nut. Get 4 of those off, and then the airbag module should come out. Alright, let's see here. Yeah, kind of wiggle it out. There we go. Okay, so we've got, looks like a couple of connectors here. Alright, let me bring you back here so you can see what I can see. There's a string that I'm seeing that's tied on something. I'm not sure what that's all about. See that? I'm going to see what that's all about. And then we have our one connector right there. That should be for the airbag that we need to get loose. And once that's disconnected, we can take the grenade known as the airbag and set it aside and not have to worry about it, because what we're actually aiming for is that nut right there. And don't forget, you see those 2 little spades right there on the bar? Those are going to be your ground contacts, so those screws need to come out, and you need to make sure you keep those wires undamaged. So this setup's kind of interesting. This here is a, well, let me show you this way. Let me move the camera first. There you go. So this is a connector holder, and I slid the connector out so you can see. And this orange guy is your horn. That wire goes up into the horn switch. So we're going to need to disconnect him from this kind of an amalgam of a connector. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so yeah, he goes off like that. So that gets our horn off. And then trying to figure out how do we actually separate our airbag connector. And that's kind of interesting. There's a, is that how you do it? Yeah, okay. So you got this guy, you push him over, and that's what lets you disconnect the airbag. So then you're left with this guy. Now this is on a 95, they might have changed that in other years. So that leaves you with this guy, but with that, we have successfully disconnected the airbag, and we can set that aside, and we can keep working on removing the steering wheel. Alrighty, our steering axle nut here is a 21 millimeter. So if we can get in there. Bazoom, away that went. The fact that it didn't even start making the hammering noise tells me that wasn't that tight. Okay, so sometimes if you're strong enough, you can kind of wiggle these off by yourself. I'm not one of those people. So I'm gonna go get my steering wheel puller, and you see there's an opening right here. That's so you can put the tip of your puller right there, and you can find some bolts. Probably these 3 right here, and then pull the steering wheel off, and then we can start the process of putting the new wheel on. All right, here's the setup. I have a steering wheel puller, but it really wasn't set up for this. So this is a kind of generic wheel slash pulley puller type thing that I have. And I was able to get it set up on 2 out of 3, as you can see. And this is not great. As you can see, it kind of came off on me. So I didn't get this one fully seated. Oh yeah, it didn't like that at all. So I'm gonna go back, try that again, but this is the basic idea, is you get at least 2 of these set firmly in these holes, and then this one's gonna push against the middle, and then the whole wheel will get pulled off. And success. That was definitely kind of ugly, because that was not the right tool for the job. You need possibly like a 3-jaw puller or a 2-jaw puller or something like that, but got her done. She came off, and I didn't damage this clocking bushing, which this is important because this is the guy that is what turns your turn signal back off when you're turning. So you hit it, and then this is going to hit a switch on the back of the steering wheel to put this back into the neutral position, so you don't have to manually turn your turn signal back off. All right, cool. So we got all that done, and it looks like things are good. And I will go ahead, and we're going to put the new steering wheel on and pull it into place and just do the reverse of what we just did. All right, here is our replacement wheel. And it is another OEM wheel. It is used, but you'll notice the leather wrap on it's in way better shape. So we'll go ahead and slide this fella on there. Now, one thing I did want to point out is, I guess 2 things. We didn't have to actually take these loose because they're grounding against the entire steering wheel assembly, which you're taking out, so you don't have to do anything with those. Other thing is, you'll notice this thing here, it was pointing north and south, basically, because I had the wheels pointed forward. It's really important that once you take the steering wheel off, don't mess with this clocking, because that lines up here, right? And it's also really important you do not adjust the wheels at all once the steering wheel is off, because if you do, you're going to have fun trying to get your alignment straightened out. Not alignment, but your steering wheel alignment. So what I may also do is, I have been fighting 6 ways from Sunday to try to get this piece to fit correctly, and now that the wheel's off, maybe I can figure out why it won't fit on there. So let me go check that out real quick. Okay, so get us up to date. What I did is I got ourselves lined up on the 2 white plastic points that I showed you, where they line up on the back of the steering wheel. And then I used our 21 millimeter, and I sucks the wheel back down where it's supposed to go. Currently it's locked from working on it. Had to make a quick repair here so that our horn connector would work as it should. And at this point, we need to put in our airbag. Now, in my case, I have 2 airbags available. I really don't know which one's what, and one's really better than the other. So I'll just put my original airbag back on. And we want to try to tuck our connector in over here in this connector holder. And we're just going to push the airbag back in. And then we will tighten up our 4 10mm nuts, and that should do it. Quick note, when you're putting the airbag and the horn connector on, the airbag connector has to go first, and then the horn connector goes on. If you try to do it the other way around, you can get the horn connector on, but then you won't be able to get the airbag connector on. So it has to go airbag, then horn. And after that, we tuck that in there, we slide our horn back in. And there we have it. So we have our airbag in, we have our new steering wheel, or new to me steering wheel on. It looks significantly better. So the last step is we are going to reconnect the battery and hope the airbag doesn't blow off, because that would just be annoying. Okay, moment of truth. And the airbag didn't go off. Nice. I'll take that. Kind of spin this around so I can actually spin this nut. I'm probably blocking everything that you guys might be able to see. Basically, we're trying to put this connector on in such a way that it's not such a pain in the butt to take back off next time. All right, I like that. Okay, so we're back on. And let's go see the horn works real quick. Oh yeah, nice and spicy. All right, so we'll unlock the wheel, make sure things turn okay, and I think we can call this a good repair. All right, folks, that's gonna do it. Had a little bit of a scare. We saw some white smoke coming in the cabin. And I think I figured out what that is. It's not the work we just did on the airbag. I believe it is the blower motor. I believe it is busted internally. And that's actually going to be our next video. But this video is done, and I believe it's a successful repair. I mean, airbag, that's kind of, you can't really test that, you know? So I'm going to leave that be. But hope this one helps somebody, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.